Catus Maximus here. This is a mid-sized flathead screwdriver, an Indestro Super, and just like with my earlier Bonnie screwdriver video, screwdrivers are one of the harder vintage tools to actually find in good condition because they tend to be the most used and beat up, or get the most beat up. Think sockets, ratchets, extensions, wrenches. Tend to hold up pretty well unless they are severely abused. Screwdrivers, not so much. The tips always get jammed up. Flatheads often get used as pry bars and are severely bent, damage to the handle from using pliers on them. I've had much less luck finding good old brands of screwdrivers. This happens to be an Indestro Super, and at least I had enough silk screening left to read it. And this is another notorious thing for, even with all the respected old tool brands, like Indestro is where they're going to use just the world's lightest silk screening to print their information on the driver handle that just ends up getting worn away in no time, and it looks like anybody else's other screwdriver and you'd have no idea. But maybe that's it for the best. I like a lot of Indestro's tools. They certainly were a very respected vintage brand that's been lost to the annals of time. But, you know, this one was in relatively decent condition. We'd say a little bit of chipping on the chrome plating, but not too bad. Like the square shank piece, it's pretty easy to deal with, or get a wrench on and be able to bolster and get some additional leverage with, I should say. Apparently it's good quality. When they silk screen this, there is, I don't even know if I can show it, but there is the very slightest indentation in the plastic, and that actually says chrome alloy steel down here on this second level. It's probably about as worn as it gets before you need like a forensic scientist to decipher what it said. Anyway, even though I like the square shank and the chrome alloy steel, I wish they would have had some kind of thing to prevent the stem from driving into the handle. But that being said, many handles end up being over drilled and then the stem isn't shoved in all the way. In this case, if you look at it, those are molding seams. So most screwdriver handles are actually, they independently form the handle and then they just press the stem into it. It's really how they do it. I mean, here's a, arguably high quality Matco, and you can see the wings that they press into the shank of this Matco. You can see it left a couple notches when they jammed it into the handle. This is one piece molded, and maybe that's why they determined they didn't need to add any extra bolstering because there is no extra airspace there. More of a rounded, it's a hexalobular design, maybe not the greatest grip. Not the worst, it's certainly a comfortable handle, but I kind of like less lobes and a little bit more aggressiveness. If we do compare that to, say, a classic Stanley 100 series, these sharper lobes actually give you just a bit better of a grip. And of course, these are famous, particularly these old boron steel ones, where they have the forging here to prevent the handle from driving down onto the screwdriver stem. Maybe if we're compared to another couple of contemporaries, have an old Williams here. And this is another example, this Miller's Falls, which has like the world's lightest stamping in it. I'd say that's what this Indestro was. It was a professional grade screwdriver, but I wouldn't consider it among the best. It was just a good screwdriver. And they kind of missed an opportunity like what Miller's Falls did here, which is add a second recurve, at least to, experiment a little bit with the grip that you get and the ergonomics of the screwdriver. Surprisingly enough, things like speed wrenches and speed handle wrenches have a huge variety. Every manufacturer has a particularly distinct handle design, where on screwdrivers they do vary, but it's by much less than some other tools. So anyway, not a lot of videos about Indestro screwdrivers, and I can see why, because it's really hard to identify them unless they're basically in great condition. And once again, screwdrivers tend to be one of the tools that gets the most beat up, so there just isn't a lot of them out there. Even though they're one of the most commonly sold tools, they're one of the most commonly damaged ones. So it is hard to collect up good ones. Anyway, just wanted to share a video about this old Indestro screwdriver, just so people have an idea of what it looks like. And we can see here that it looks like this is actually taking quite a beating on the handle, so I can say that at least it's a decent quality acetate. Poor quality acetate will really want to split and crack on you when you hammer on it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.